Okay, so let's now go to preparing for the interview. I've got to move really fast because I don't have so much time. Again, do your research about the company. Now, one of the mistakes Nigerian graduates or job seekers make is that they get up, they want to go for an interview, they have not done any research about the company where they are going to be interviewed. Please, if you have done it in the past, don't ever make that mistake again. Don't go for any job interview. Even if you already have a job and you are switching your jobs, you are not a first-timer in the job market. You are just changing your jobs. Don't do that. Make sure you do your research on the internet about the company. Most likely the company will have a website. They will have some information. They may have a Facebook page. They may have a LinkedIn profile. Do your research about the company. Make sure you know something about them. Then have a printed copy. Have you noticed, for those of you who have gone for some job interviews, that a company would have collected a CV from you and they will still ask you, do you have your CV here? It's a test. So apart from submitting your CVs, make sure you have a printed copy of the same CV, not a different one. The same CV that you submitted to that company, have a printed copy when you're going for that interview. Then get to know the location in advance. Get to know the location of the interview in advance. I'll quickly tell you a story. I used to work in an organization. Again, I don't want to mention the name of the organization, but it was founded by one of the popular founders of a popular bank. Let me put it that way. Somebody was supposed to come and work in our organization, and I was in the communications department. So it means that when you come into the company, I'm probably one of the first set of people that you will meet. Unfortunately for this lady, because our office had a twisted location, so to say, she arrived late for the interview. When she arrived late for the interview, you know what my superior said? My superior said, I'm sorry, we've already concluded the interview. I've gotten someone else for the job. You can go back. And as a matter of fact, no one else had been interviewed for the job. But because the lady came late, my superior said, no, we can't take you. And that was the end. That was how she lost the job, just because she came late. Then a few minutes later, I went to my superior and I said, I have someone else. Do you still have a vacancy? Can I bring the person? That was when I realized that nobody else had actually been interviewed for that job. Then I called the person. I said, look, this was what happened. Somebody else was supposed to take this job, but because the person came late, that was why the person lost the job. So if you love yourself, report here within so and so time and make sure you are prompt. That was how somebody else got the job. So please, if you're going for any job interview at all, in fact, if you have to be there 2 hours before the interview, there's no problem about that. Sometimes, the way they even choose who to employ is punctuality. You're getting there 2 hours will not harm you. So it just might be your first pass mark. Please go to the location of the interview. Get to know the location in advance, or set out very early to get to know the venue in time, the venue of the interview in good time. Then, volunteer. You know, sometimes a lot of people will say, oh, all these companies, they're always asking for 10 years experience, 2 years experience, 6 months. Where will I get all this experience? In Nigeria, we don't like to hear this. But thank God for the compulsory 1-year service. Apart from your compulsory 1-year service, while you are waiting for a job, I want to suggest to people, please volunteer in a company that actually has the provision for the skills that you have, the kind of job. If you want to be an accountant, for example, I suggest you go and volunteer in an accounting firm, just so that you can gain the experience. Now, a lot of parents will not even agree with what I'm saying. But I can tell you that's why some of the children haven't gotten jobs yet. Because when they start asking you for your experience, you don't have any experience. And they will tell you that your NYC days, some of the people will tell you your NYC days, they were just playing days. Some companies don't regard your NYC experience. I wanted to do that some years ago, but I was not allowed. But today, that same company that I wanted to volunteer with, I run some free services for them today. So if I'm preparing my profile, there is no way I will not mention the name of that company. And when people say, oh, so you've done something for this company, please, who will ask you, did you get paid? Nobody will ask you if you got paid or not. But you'll be able to put it on your profile that you got an experience working for that company. So I suggest, look for companies in the industry where you would like to work, preferably the big ones. Offer to work for free for a couple of months. Please specify the time. You could say you want to work for them for 3 months or for 6 months. And for parents who are here, I strongly advise you support your young ones because they would need your support in those periods of 6 months. Maybe with transportation, with their upkeep and things like that. Then while in that company, put in your best and gain as much experience as you can. When you are in that company, please put in your best, gain as much experience as you can. And I want to move forward. My time is fast running out. Okay, quickly, dressing for the interview. I won't be able to talk too much about that because I have just about 5 minutes left now. Be conservative when you're dressing for your interview. Be conservative with your choice of clothes. Your suits can be black, it can be navy blue or brown. Your suits can be black, navy blue or brown. Ladies should avoid lousy footwear. Ladies, please avoid lousy footwear when you're going for an interview. You know, I used to joke that if you go to churches and you find holes in the churches, don't look any further. Just go and look at the shoes of the ladies. They are the ones that will create holes in our churches. So please don't wear lousy footwears to any interview. The men, please do not have a pocket square. Don't have a pocket square when you're going for an interview. When you put on a pocket square, it means that you are going for, as the Yorubas will call it, afefeyeye. It's for a ceremony. So don't wear a pocket square when you're going for an interview. It's a formal event. You would never find the US president wearing a pocket square in a formal event, any formal event whatsoever. You may find him wearing a pocket square in a dinner, but that he has a state speech to deliver, never. And if you want to know how to dress, check 2 people in the world, anytime, any day. The British Prime Minister and the US President. You will never go wrong following those 2 people in their dressing. That is for the men. And even for the ladies, you will never go wrong following the footsteps of their wives. Then, men should avoid striped shirts on striped ties. A lot of people don't know. You don't wear striped shirts on striped ties and striped suits. Only one piece of your clothing should be striped. Maybe your suit, if your suit is striped, then your shirt and your tie should not be striped. If your tie is striped, then your shirt and your suit should not be striped. Just one stripe. Then, ladies should avoid flowery camisole. You never can tell who is on the panel of the interview. When you wear a flowery camisole, you are sending a wrong signal. So you don't want to appear as being seductive. So I suggest if you're going for an interview, if you can do away with camisole, I would advise you wear a shirt, a proper shirt, instead of a camisole at all. But if you must wear a camisole, make sure it's not a flowery. You know, you have some really nice camisoles, ladies, and then you want to flaunt it, and at the end of the day, you mess up the interview just because you're trying to look good. So please stay away from flowery camisoles. Then, for the men, your tie must touch the tip of your belt. If your tie is not as long as my tie, what you have is not a tie, it is a rope. And you are about to commit suicide. Somebody please help them. Don't let them commit suicide. If your tie is not touching the tip of your belt, what you have is not a tie, it's a rope. So the standard length for any tie, men, listen, is your tie must touch the tip of your belt. That's the standard. Then, when you're wearing your belt and your shoes must be the same color. I have a black belt, my shoes must be black. If I have a brown belt, my shoes must be brown. So if you never knew that, please note, your belt and your shoes must be exactly the same color. Then, ladies, of course, you know you should not wear any clothes that reveals your cleavage at all. Then in the waiting room, let me quickly say this. You will see, you're seeing it on the screen, so I won't talk too much. Sometimes, who gets the job is determined in the waiting room. That was something that happened in our company some years back. They wanted to decide who was going to get the job. They had done the interview. The two of them performed very well. So the question is, who will get the job? They didn't know who was going to get the job. You know what they did? They came to the receptionist and they said, who do you think should get the job amongst those two people that we interviewed? And one of them had been playing with the receptionist. She didn't know. She was just having a nice time and having a good rapport with the receptionist. What do you expect the receptionist to say? She just simply recommended the person who had been playing with her and been having a nice rapport with her. So don't ever get into the waiting room thinking, oh, she's just a receptionist. She might determine your destiny. It's a good time to clap, really. Then in the interview room, quickly, please, I'll wrap up within the time now. Be as calm as you can. There's no need to panic. When you walk into the room, greet everyone. Greet everyone. You don't have to kneel down. You don't have to prostrate. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma. That's okay. Then, do not stretch forth your hands. Don't ever do that, except they stretch forth their own hands to you. Don't ever be the one to stretch forth your hands. Let them be the one to stretch forth your hands. And quickly, let me have you, sir. I want to display a firm handshake. Many of you don't know how to shake people. When you want to shake somebody, you have a firm handshake. First of all, you are looking at the person eyeball to eyeball, and look at this, a very firm handshake, and you're looking at the person eyeball to eyeball. Good morning, sir. And please don't go doing things like this. And then, thank you, sir. So make sure you look at the person eyeball to eyeball, and it's a firm handshake. Then, do not stretch forth your hands. I've said that already. Then, after the greeting, please make sure they tell you to sit down before you sit down. Don't sit down until you are told to do so. Please do not sit down until you are told to do so. Then, of course, don't try to prove that you know too much. I'm running out of time. The 60-second trailer, please do this. The 60-second trailer. What this means is, in most interviews, you'll be asked to introduce yourself. They say, please, sometimes they'll say, please, can we meet you, sir? There's some people who say, oh, my name is Fola Daniel, and then they stop. You failed the test. Please introduce yourself. My name is Fola Daniel Adelesi, and then you stop. You failed the test. When they say, introduce yourself, you have 60 seconds to tell them about yourself. So practice how to speak about yourself for the next 60 seconds. So when you go for an interview and they say, introduce yourself, that's what they expect you to say. And in that 60 seconds, tell them your name, tell them your educational background, tell them what your competencies are, and leave it at that. And when they ask you, how much do you want to earn? That's where a lot of people fail, a lot of people goof. Don't go and call big figures. In fact, the professional thing to do, as much as possible, avoid this question. That's the professional thing to do. But if they now sit on your neck, again, before you go for any interview, do a search. What is the average fee for people at my level and in this industry? Do a search. So when they ask you, how much would you like to earn? Please, as I said earlier, avoid the question as much as possible. But if they insist, then you now say a figure. But make sure that it is something reasonable. A lot of people mess up their interviews by asking for too much, and they don't have the experience to match the amounts they are asking for. Then, after the interview, Nigerians don't do this as well. Send an appreciation email or letter to the company for inviting you for that interview. Do you know that if they are still confused about who to select, that might just win it for you? So please, after every interview, send an email or a letter appreciating them. You are not trying to be nice. Just say, thank you for interviewing me. I enjoyed the interview. And leave it at that. Don't try to be smart. So, unconventional ways of interview. Quickly, you might be asked to do a video call. Somebody had called me about a job before, and it was a Skype call. And this Skype call was a job interview. And somebody called me before. It was a phone call. And they said, are you ready for your interview now? I said, yes, sir. Fire on. And it was a phone call that was an interview. So don't think that they will always call you to an office for an interview. They can make a phone call and that's it. The interview is done. they'll just spend 5 minutes with you on phone. And sometimes it can be a video call. So don't say, I don't have data, I don't have internet. Go and upgrade yourself. If you are looking for a job, you must always have data on your devices. So please make sure that you are ready for that. I want to say a very big thank you for listening to me. And I hope that you will be blessed. I also want to believe that by this time next month, somebody, as a result of this, would have gotten a job. God bless you.